Perfect. Okay. So thank you for the invitation and nice to meet you, everyone. So what I have, let's see, something about myself. So as has been saying, I work for Mace as an associate director, head of BIM International. I'm also involved in other initiative. So in the UK, I'm ambassador of the UK BIM Alliance. That is the community that is promoting the use of BIM as business as usual. And also has been promoting the UK BIM framework. If you're not familiar, I suggest to have a look. There is a lot of material available on guidance, how to implement the ISO 19650 series principles. And I'm also assistant editor of the BIM dictionary. Also is a community of experts on BIM, and in particular, I've been developing and supporting the growing of the BIM dictionary. That is a tool that is available online for free, has been translated in 27 languages so far, with the support of more than 120 volunteers across the globe, and also work on standardization. And I will mention something about the work that I've been doing at European level and ISO level. And also recently I published this book together with other two co-editors on Industry 4.0 for the built environment. So it's really to give the basics to everyone regarding how to upskill themselves and to reskill themselves on our sector that is slowly changing in the adoption of not just technologies, but also methodology and most important, soft skills. Okay, so something about myself. Our purpose is Mace. Our purpose is to redefine the boundaries of ambition. And if you're not familiar with Mace, we are a construction and consultancy company, but also we operate and we develop. And we work across 5 different international hubs. And our priority is to pursue a sustainable world, grow together and deliver distinctive value to our clients. And we work both in the private and public sector in different industries. And if you've ever been in London, we built the Shard from Renzo Piano, the London Eye, and also recently working in the Expo 2020 and other iconic projects. And I have here a video. Hopefully the sound is working, and of how you can see also some technologies that we are adopting. So I will run the video that is 2 minutes, and then I will continue with my presentation, okay? Stop me if you cannot hear, but hopefully it will work.
What does our future look like? A future where we work smarter, connected, inspired. A future that's shaped by technology and innovative ideas. A future that's better for both our environment and the communities we help to create. Now is the time to shape our world beyond what we've already achieved. The power is in our hands to influence the future, finding new ways of working and never standing still. We can stamp our mark on the world and be a leader for others to follow. The talent and determination within everyone at Mace can unlock the potential for great change. You can shape our future. Break through boundaries, barriers, and challenge the status quo. Drive our industry forward to deliver distinctive value for our clients, stakeholders, and communities. By harnessing today's technologies, we can unlock tomorrow's possibilities, elevating each other to pioneer innovative solutions that provide services that reach beyond expectation. Be proud that you can be part of something that is truly exceptional, delivering iconic projects that make a difference. To redefine the boundaries of ambition.
if it worked. Okay, so let's now move to the to the main part of the presentation regarding the use of BIM in practice. Okay, so as part of our purpose to redefine the boundaries of ambition, one of the things that we have been looking in the past years is really how we can monitor our construction site in real time, okay? Because we know that most of the time we discover issues that happen too late, okay? So we don't have really the possibility to make a difference and to have an impact. So we, as you can see in this image, we work in the sort of NASA control room together with also with other projects to be able to monitor and to predict the different activities that are happening on site. So the first things to achieve this vision that at the beginning, of course, was a vision is really to start with this standardization. Because one of the biggest problems that we have currently is that people start to jump on the technology and they want to digitalize and to buy software and so on. But the first steps that you need to do is really to start with the standardization and to structure the data. One of the things that in the UK of defining the need report published by the Construction Innovation Hub has shown is that across the UK public clients, there were 104 different ways to call the space toilet. Can you imagine? So someone called restrooms, some call VCs, some call toilet and so on. And how you can make the power of data and to, you know, digitalize if we don't find an agreement on basic things like that, naming convention, for example. So the first step, as I was mentioning, is regarding structuring information and defining your needs. Is the reason why in the past year has been leading this work at European level and now at international level on redefining the concept of LOD and moving to the concept of the level of information need. And probably most of you are familiar with the LOD definition. If not, don't worry. So it is a way to, as in drawings, we have the scale, okay? When we speak about BIM, we introduce this concept of level of development, level of definition, level of detail in order to explain how much information we needed to produce and how much we can rely on them. You can see here an example of the chair that as we increase the number of the level of development, we can rely that actually this is the actual chair that we're going to use in our project. This instead is just a placeholder, even if it is very accurate, okay? So this has been created, this scale, in order to help people to explain how they want information and how much they can rely on. But when I ask to expert, which is the LOD, so the level of development or definition of this door, for example, even if we have experts in the room, they have different opinions. The reason why is because this way of defining the information is quite open to interpretation most of the time. So in order to use the power of digital, we need to be more specific on what we want, and in particular to start with the why. Starting to define our purposes and use cases, okay? And because you can see that if you needed to do cost analysis or thermal analysis, you need different attributes, for example. You might need the cost value, the cost schedule, the material, and then if you need to do thermal design analysis, then you need other. So it's really important to start with the why. It's also a lean approach, okay? So starting to define very clearly the scope. But unfortunately, also when doing BIM, as I say, we jump on the technology and the use of tool, but we miss all the information management part that is so important when delivering BIM. So as part of my job, I help clients in defining their strategy. We have clients across the globe. Currently, we're working in Australia, Middle East, Europe, of course, and in North America, I am helping clients, and also South America, and also in South Africa, India, and so on. So the point is that first of all, you need to define your need. You need to have a clear strategy, and then this can should inform how you create the information, and then you can provide the information. Then it's important to validate. It's the same of the principle as we mentioned of plan, do, check, act. Okay, so we need also to replicate and to be more lean on the way that we deliver our project. So we don't have time to go in very detail here, but I suggest you, everyone that is interested, to have a look to this new framework that is the level of information need. That is a framework to help everyone, but especially clients, in order to define what they need, but also can be used by contractors or main contractors to explain to their suppliers which information they need from them, okay? And it's made up of two different parts. Part one is, the first part is on the prerequisites. So you need to define the purposes, why you need the information, when you need those information, who needs to provide and to check those information, to what level of the breakdown structure those information are associated. Are we speaking about the entire asset, to the elements, to systems, and so on. And then we have the level of information need, the framework itself, that is made up of geometrical information, alphanumerical information, and documentation. And as part of those, there are different aspects. And for example, we have the detail, how much information you are included, and the dimensionality. Do you need a point, a line, a surface, or a 3D? Do you need information to be geolocated, or to be just, you know, relative location? So do you care that for a particular, for example, a boiler is in a particular location, or that just for you is important that the boiler is in that particular room? And the appearance, how to look like, is a realistic appearance, is a symbolic appearance? Do you just need to provide the color of the material? Actually, do you want the texture, and so on? And the parametric behaviors, how much we can modify the geometry after it's been created. Really, really important aspect. And the alphanumerical information is really about the list of the different attributes, such as as we were discussing before, the color, the thermal value, the cost, and so on. And then the set of documents that you need in order to fulfill a particular purpose. So here I have an example. So this framework is already used in real project, and also I will show an example of application, even if I don't sell software, but you can have an idea about how to implement it. And in this case, during the preliminary design, if you needed to do a visualization, then the architect is required to provide a site, a wall, a window, and then for the visualization, you don't want the site to be modeled, but you want just to have some information for your database. But instead you want the walls to be modeled, and then you explain how you want the geometry to be created. And maybe for the visualization, you don't need any attributes. This is just an extreme example. But for other purposes, maybe you need data associated to that. Where you can find more information regarding the level of information need framework. So the ISO 19650, that is the newest standard on the information management when using BIM, and is available, and is the first time that this concept has been created. Also, together with a co-author, Emma Hooper, we created a guidance that where you can find initial information to this topic, and also there is the actual standard on the level of information needed, is EN 17412 part 1, that actually define the concept and principles, so you can have a look. The level of information need, how you can implement it, as part of the UK BIM framework that is being created, an example that you can see here. You can find it, the website is available to everyone, and how, for example, the alphanumerical information can be created. We know that BIM is not just the geometry, But more and more our clients, they want from us as a construction companies or as a designer, they want to have the information to then to be able to transfer, for example, in their facility management systems, to create the so-called golden thread of information after disaster that happened, for example, in the UK, and the report, and is becoming really, really important, and clients see the value of the information. So it's important to structure those and to collect and then to provide. And also another example is this another tool, BIMQ. So you can see how the level of information need is set up. You can set up the milestone, the purposes, the actor, the different object of your breakdown structure, and then to define how the geometry look like, how the alphanumerical information and the list of properties. And to assign this as a database, of course, you can define the level of information need in a doc file, but it's not really the purpose. We need to use more and database approach, and in order able to define our requirements and to be able to integrate with our tools. That is what, for example, is this workflow. So you can set up your information requirements in a database. Then there are plugins that inform your authoring models to import directly the requirements that can be internally, within your organization, but also can come from the client or other partners. And then this can help you to really answer to the client's requirements and to create your solution. And then also from the information need, you can also create a data set and to be able to check that what you create is compliant with the client requirements. So you can do a self-check, but also you can also the clients can check our work using tools, for example, such as Simple BIM and Solibri. Here I have a case study where actually we, thanks to the implementation of BIM and information management, our team in Mace was able to deliver for a public client a baseline of the design in the 79 weeks instead of an average of 155. That you can see that we were able to show the client really our productivity. And you can see here that using BIM and structured data, the first time that we created the first building typology, we took an amount of 300 hours, but then thanks to the power of BIM, we were able to show to the clients then for the second building typology, really the time spent really decreased. And everything was thanks to the prerequisites, so standardized data, agreed protocols, including naming convention, and also to upskill people and to make sure that they had the right skills to work on a project where BIM was really the core way of delivering the project, okay? And so we were able to show this. And also, this is also something that my team has been created, and also we receive an award for this work as the most innovative company in the UK before the pandemic. And you can see here, we were able to show to the client that what was planned has been received, and what instead was not yet provided. So really to do analysis and to provide evidence of thanks to BIM is not really about just the model. Again, that I'm repeating this concept that is really important, especially in some markets we are really focused on still on the geometry and not on the power of the data. Okay, how many drawings has been provided, how many models, how many reports, and so on. Here, other example of what our construction team is doing, using, for example, cameras to monitor and compare the actual plan with the real one. You can see that then it's possible to measure the productivity. Here, another project of our our team in construction is using those technology, for example, Lobster TV, in order to compare the model from the designer with actually the real situation. So I don't have the video here, but if you go to the Lobster TV, if you're not familiar with the tool, then you can see how you can overlap the actual image of the real-time site with then the model, and then you can select different time of the month, and then to compare those. So it's really important also from a sort of insurance point of view. And what we have here regarding AC production control room. So what I mentioned at the beginning, so that is a work that Mace has been doing together with other industry and academia partners. And you can see here also, I don't know if you noticed in the video, how to monitor and really extract data from our construction site, and to be able to monitor different activities. This is also a real benefit to start communication, and people start to engage and to discuss, and people to be better visualize packages, and then find the right solution. You can see here images of the companies and names of the main contributors that you can, of course, contact if you want to know more about this project that we have been completing. So I want to close my presentation, that I hope that was useful. So the key takeaway, so the relevance of information management to take informed decision, okay? So not just the geometry, but everything regarding information management. And in Mace, we have a very strong team that is implementing and delivering information management for our project and also for our clients. And also, I hope that you discover something more regarding the level of information need framework developed at European level, and now they are bringing at international level on a way to define the requirements, what we need in a more digitalized and precise way, to be able then to check that what we do is compliant with the requirements. And to have data that we can rely, because one of the problems is that we create a lot of model, but then we cannot rely. So what is the point? It's a lot of waste. Is that we want to avoid the Hollywood BIM, but to do BIM in real, and then to use it for making informed decision. And also I briefly mentioned the SE production control room. That is something that we are doing in order to support the construction sector to make those informed decision. And also another important point to start collecting and having benchmark for the future projects, because of one of the problems that we have. So this is really not too far, is starting with the vision, but for us is really the way that we want to move forward. So again, thank you for the invitation, and I'm happy to answer to question. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Marzia. Yes, we have a few questions, quick answers if you could. What are some of the common misconceptions of BIM that you encounter from clients?
Yeah, so I would say clients mainly think that BIM is regarding to adopting new technologies. So they think that by buying and procuring different tools, they can deliver, project according to BIM. So that is one of the biggest misconceptions. Instead, is also about policies, is also regarding processes. So if you just jump from the technology point of view, really, you cannot get the benefits. Another misconception is to just think of BIM for design and construction. So to think that BIM is something for the designer or people, construction, but not thinking about the entire life cycle of the data and the power of then linked with facility management systems, for example. So we want that the information that we created during construction can then be used also afterwards by our clients to take most of that.
Okay, the global BIM market is expected to grow by 15% between 2020 and 2027. What are Mace plans to embrace that growth?
Yeah, so we are, let's say, implementing different type of strategies. One is, the way that we are working, of course, regarding the sustainability, that is our, priorities. But also, I don't know if you are familiar with our modern method of construction and construction to production strategies. So rethinking the way that we are delivering in our project. I didn't mention in detail, I didn't have time today, regarding the jump factory that we built in the UK, considering our site more as in a place where we assemble elements, not instead a place where we build. So it's really, in order to face, this growth that you mentioned, we really need to rethink about the way that we deliver our asset, both from a climate change emergency, but also from the urgency of answering to an increased demand.
Okay, many countries, especially the UK, have made the use of BIM mandatory for large-scale projects. Are there other countries where you think this could be the case too?
Yeah, so other countries are already mandating the use of BIM beside the UK. So one example is, for example, in Italy there is a mandate. There is in Finland and also in other Latin America, and also in Singapore we have one. There are different ways of implementing BIM. There is a so-called top-down to mandate. Then there is the bottom up, so, and then the middle out. So there are different, let's say, models. So the mandate, so there are a lot of studies on this. The mandate alone can incentive, the market to start and to implement BIM, but you need other things usually to support this. For example, incentives. And also to have a clear strategy of what happens if instead, how we can monitor and how we can, let's say, evaluate if people are implementing in the correct way. And what happens if someone is not implemented? Are there fines or how to do that? So, is really also to start from the education and change the way that we teach in the university, so that we have a workforce that is ready. Because even if you have a mandate, but there are people entering the industry, they have no idea. So companies need to spend and to invest on them is not really feasible in the long time. So the answer, coming back to your point, is that yes, other countries can benefit from the mandate, but it's important to do in a wise way.
Okay, another question about sustainability. Can BIM be used by construction to increase sustainability? If so, how?
Yeah, the answer is yes. Sustainability is a big topic, of course. One of the aspects that we see already happening is the calculation of embodied carbon, for example. With the model, you're able to extract with more accuracy the different materials, for example, and the quantities, okay? So how much concrete do we have? And then based on that, we are able to calculate the embodied carbon, okay? And then we are able, since the beginning, to study different solutions to reduce the embodied carbon. That is something that, for example, in Mace we are doing. And I see also more and more companies doing that is great. And also the same for the operational carbon, how during the life cycle, we then monitor the use of carbon. Then it can be used also to study biodiversity and track also where the material are coming from and so on. So yes, the answer is yes, it can be used, and actually we should use it more and more.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. Grazie, Dr. Marzia Bolpagni, Head of BIM International at Mace. It was fascinating to hear all of that. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for answering the questions. Now we're going to...